morning and welcome to English Lessons on Iman TV. In today's lessons, we are going to have a vocabulary test first. It's a multiple choice test. That means I have a word and then I have four answers. A, B, C. These are the words you have studied before, so I want to see how well you remember what we've studied before. And then after that, the rest of the lesson is all on grammar. So we start with the last group of irregular verbs. So we're going to practice that one. And then I'm going to teach you a new grammar lesson, and that's called habitual past action. Something that you did in the past again and again and again, but you don't do it anymore. How do you say that in English? The structure is called used to structure. So I'm going to teach you that one, and you'll practice that. And then after that, we have what we call it in teaching transformation practice. That means I give you statements, you change them to questions, okay? So let's start with our vocabulary lesson. It's actually review, it's a test, okay? So these are the words we studied. I expect perfect answer, no pressure, okay? Number one, an architect is a person who blank. A, paints pictures. B, fixes cars. C, designs a building. D, makes medicine. Which one of these is correct? A, B, C, D. What does an architect do? Remember, I showed you pictures of an architect. We went over it, so I am sure that you have the perfect answer. And that perfect answer is what? An architect is a person who designs buildings, right? He makes the blueprint of what? Buildings. Thank you. Question number 2. A physician is a person who blank. A, treats sick people. B, makes medicine. C, treats sick animals. D, treats sick birds. Which one is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? A physician is a person who, the correct answer is, treats sick people. In other words, a medical doctor is a physician. So let me go over these two questions. An architect is a person who designs buildings. Remember that if you made mistakes with this. And number 2, a physician is a person who treats sick people. These are medical doctors working in clinics in the hospitals. Question number 3. Let's go to the next page. A carpenter is a person who blank. A, fixes cars. B, makes furniture. C, repairs roads. D, builds roads. Which one is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is a carpenter is a person who makes furniture. Tables, chair, couch, sofas. Also, in building construction, you need what? You need carpenters. Question number 4. A priest is a person who works in A, supermarket. B, hardware store. C, hospital. D, church or mosque. What is a priest and where does he work? The correct answer is a priest is a person who works in a what? In a church or mosque. So the word for imam in English is priest. Let me read these two answers again. A carpenter is a person who makes furniture. A priest is a person who works in a church or mosque. Question number 5. Slide means what? In other words, what is the meaning of slide? Or what does slide mean? So slide means what? A, start. B, exit. C, stop. D, move. The correct answer is slide means move. You slide the door. You move the door. Sometimes doors are called sliding doors, that they don't open like that, but they move like this. Okay? Slide. Question number 6. Steal means what? In other words, what is the meaning of steal? What is the meaning of steal? Steal means A, break. B, bring back. C, rob. D, spend. The correct answer is rob. Somebody who steals, it's called he robs. So that's why the person who steals is called a robber. He's a bank robber. Means what? He steals money from a bank. Robber, robbery, rob. So rob is the verb, means steal. Robber is the person who does the action of stealing. And robbery is the noun. So there was a bank robbery, means what? Somebody went to a bank and stole money. Okay, let me read these 2 sentences with correct completion. Slide means move. Steal means rob. Question number 7. Graduate means blank. A, finish school. B, start school. C, quit school. D, enroll in school. Which one is correct? In other words, what is the meaning of graduate? If somebody graduates from school, what does it mean? Does he finish school? Does he start school? Does he quit school? Or does he enroll in school? The correct answer is finish school. When somebody completes the 12th grade, that person graduates. Somebody completes the 4th year of university, that person graduates, means finishes school. Question number 8. Weep means A, cry. B, laugh. C, smile. D, walk. In other words, what is the meaning of weep? Weep means cry. So if somebody is weeping, it means he's crying. Weep means cry. So let me read these 2 sentences with correct completion. Graduate means A, finish school. Weep means A, cry. Question number 9. Nationality means A, where you live. B, where you work. C, where you study. D, where you come from. In other words, what is the meaning of nationality? If somebody asks you, what is your nationality? What does he want to know? The correct answer is nationality means where you come from, the country of your citizenship. That's your nationality. Number 10. Native language means blank. A, foreign language. B, second language. C, first language. D, international language. Which one is the correct answer? If somebody asks you, what is your native language? What does this person want to know? So native language means what? First language. A person's mother tongue. The language that person learned from his or her mother. That is what? The person's first language. So for most Afghan, it's either Farsi or Pashto, but there are other languages. There are, I believe, 19 to 24 other languages that people speak in Afghanistan. But for most people, it's either Dari Farsi or Pashto. So the correct completion for nationality means where you come from. Native language means first language. Now, next section is what we have been practicing in doing, and that is what? That's the irregular form of verb and the regular form. So every week I remind you of what is a regular verb, what is an irregular verb. And today we are going to go over the last list of irregular verb. And I'm sure if you look at these lessons that I have presented so far, from lesson number, I believe, number 5 to number 20, you have a complete list of all irregular verbs in English. Okay? So the regular verbs or the verbs that when you use them in the past tense, you use D or ED systematically. Okay, so there is a rule, there is regulation. But I also said that when you add this D or ED, the pronunciation is not always D, depending on the ending of the word. It could be D, it could be T, it could be id. So there are examples that we went over many, many times, but I'm just reminding you. Like you say, if the ending of a word is what? A voice sound. The D or ED that you add, it's pronounced as D. Like combed, climbed, mowed, and seemed. If the ending is a voiceless sound, and I explained what the voiceless sound was many, many times, so the ED is pronounced as T, like talked, helped, finished, and laughed. The same ED is pronounced as id if the ending of a word is what? D or T, like in ended, boarded, reported, added. So that was what? The story of how the regular verbs have some rules. And that is what? That they take D or ED in the past and past participle form, and the pronunciation is also what? Regular. So for some words, it is D, for other words, it's T, and for other words, it's ED, but there are rules that we need to know. The irregular verbs that I explained, they are irregular. They don't follow any rules. So that's why we spend the last so many weeks, almost 15 weeks, teaching you week after week after week these irregular verbs to practice the spelling, practice the pronunciation, because when you talk, you need to use these words. When you write, you need to use it and use the correct spelling of the word. That's why we practice them. Today is the last section of this, and these irregular verbs could be found in 4 different categories. Some of them, all the 3 forms, the first, the second, and the third, are different, like drive, drove, driven. Others, their second and third form are the same, like bring, brought, brought. So the second and third form is the same, brought, brought. There are others, and the number is small, and that's what? That all the 3 forms are the same, like cut, 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 hit, 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 set, set, set. Those words. And then there are others that they're this very limited group of words that their first and last form is the same, like come, came, come, become, became, become, and so forth and so on. Now, this is the last list of irregular verbs, and alphabetically we're getting to the end of the letters of alphabet. I presented them to you in alphabetical order. So first, please repeat after me together. Then we are going to look at their second and third form, or the past form and the past participle form. Please repeat. Understand, upset, wake, wear, weave, weep, win, withdraw, write. So understand means what? You understand something, you know something. Upset means what? To make somebody sad or make somebody unhappy or even angry. Wake, it usually we say wake up, it's the opposite of sleep. Wear, put on, like I'm wearing a jacket today. Weave means putting it together. And weep, we studied that, it means cry. And win is the opposite of lose. You lose or you win, like your people win lottery, for example. They win a prize, for example. Withdraw means to go back. And then write, of course, we all know it's you write something. It's the read and you write. Okay. Now let's look. What is the past tense of understand? The past tense of understand is what? Understood. And the past participle? Understood. So here we say that what? The second and the third form is the same. Upset, the past tense is upset, the past participle form is upset. So that's another word like cut, 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 hit, 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 upset, upset, upset. So if somebody made you angry, somebody made you feel bad, you say what? He upset me. That means that it made you feel uncomfortable. You're upset, you're angry, you don't feel good. Wake, the past tense is what? Woke. The past participle form is what? Woken or waked. Where, past form is what? Were, and then the past participle form is worn. Weep, the past tense, wept. The past participle form is wept. Win, the past tense, won. The past participle form is also won. Withdraw, the past is withdrew. See, draw, drew, withdraw, withdrew. A changes to E and it's pronounced withdrew, ooh. And then withdrawn is the past participle form. And the last one is what? Write, the past tense wrote, and the past participle form is what? Written. Now that you have all three forms in front of us, I want you to listen to me and repeat after me together. And please say the words loud enough that you can hear what you are saying. Please repeat after me together. Understand. Understood. Understood. Upset. 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 Wake. Woke. Woken or waked. Wear. Were. Worn. Weave. Wove. Woven. Weep. Wept. Wept. Win. Won. Won. Withdraw. Withdrew. Withdrawn. Write. Wrote. Written. Now let's practice this. So as usual, I have these sentences here and I have these words I give you in the present form. So what I want you to do is actually two things. Number one, you need to decide which words make the meaning of the sentence complete. And then decide which form of that word can you use. Can you use the first form or the present form, the second form or the past form, or the past participle form, or the ing form? We haven't studied the past participle form in the usage yet, but you could think of the present tense, present progressive tense, simple past tense, and past progressive tense. So the words are understand, upset, wake, wear, weave. Number one, Tim up at 6:30 this morning. Which of these words will make sense here? Understand, upset, wake, wear, or weave. Think about it. Number two, John blank is blue shirt for the job interview last month. So what did John do with his blue shirt? Which of these words will make sense here? Number three, Jess does not blank what teacher is saying. Many people carpets in northern and western Afghanistan. Liz, her neighbors, by playing loud music. Now what I want you to look, number one, Tim at 6:30 this morning. So what's the correct word? This morning has already passed, so you say what? Wake, woke. Tim woke up at 6:30 this morning. We usually use the preposition up with wake. Wake up, woke up. John is blue shirt for the job interview last month. So from these words, which one will fit better? The correct answer is the correct answer is were. John wore his blue suit for the job interview last month. Jess does not what the teacher is saying. does not what? Excuse me. Does not understand. Many people, carpets in northern and western Afghanistan. Many people do what with carpets? So you usually do what? You put these things together with carpets. So the correct answer is what? Weave. But because it's still going on, you say what? You use the present tense because it continues. So many people weave carpets in northern and western Afghanistan. Liz her neighbors by playing loud music. The correct answer is upsets, means makes them angry. So let me read these sentences with correct completion. Tim woke up at 6:30 this morning. John wore his blue suit for the job interview last month. Jess does not understand what the teacher is saying. Many people weave carpets in northern and western Afghanistan. Liz upsets her neighbors by playing loud music. Now let's go to the next page. 5 more words and trying to use the same situation. You try to first choose the word that make the sentence meaningful, and secondly, choose the correct form of the verb. Let me read the sentences first, give you a chance to think about it, and then you'll go over and giving you the correct answer. Number 1, he's blank because he lost a close relative, a very close relative. Is what? Number 2, the Russians were defeated and blank their soldiers in 1988 because they could not fight the brave people of Afghanistan. So what did the Russians do in 1988? We all know in 1979 they invaded Afghanistan. But what did they do in 1988? One of these words on that list makes perfect sense there. Did you the game yesterday? What can you say here? Mr. Iqbal Tughi, a famous and talented Afghan poet, blank a lot of beautiful poems in Dari. Okay, so now let's see which words you have chosen. He is because he lost a very close relative. He is what? He is weeping because he lost a very close relative. He's crying because a very close relative means what? Somebody who's very close to, God forbid, like a brother or sister or father or mother. They're what? Or a wife or husband, or son or daughter. They're what? Close relatives or a cousin. So if, God forbid, if one loses one, then of course that person usually what? Cries or weeps. The Russians were defeated. And which word did you choose? The correct word is withdrew. See, withdraw is the present form, withdrew is the past tense. Why? Because it happened in 1988, long time ago. The withdrew means what? They took their soldiers back. Why? Because they could not fight in Afghanistan. The people were too brave for them. The Russians were defeated and withdrew their soldiers in 1988 because they could not fight the brave people of Afghanistan. And brave means what? People that they're not afraid to fight the enemy. That these kind of people are called brave people. Afghans are what good example. Number 3, did you blank the game yesterday? Did you what? Win the game yesterday. You win a game, you lose a game. Okay? Mr. Iqbal Tughi, probably a lot of you know him. He lives around in the Bay Area here in San Jose. A famous and talented Afghan poet, a lot of beautiful poem in Dari. So what's the right? Writes a lot of beautiful poem in Dari. He has written many books in poetry. Beautiful Dari, beautiful language and beautiful poem. So you write poetry. So a person who writes poetry is called a poet. Like Hafiz Shirazi was a poet, Saadi was a poet. These are people that they write poems. They're called poet. So Iqbal Tughi is one of our very beloved and talented Afghan poet. Let me read these sentences with correct completions. He is weeping because he lost a very close relative. Number 2, the Russians were defeated and withdrew their soldiers in 1988 because they could not fight the brave people of Afghanistan. Did you win the game yesterday? Mr. Iqbal Tawqi, a famous and talented Afghan poet, writes a lot of beautiful poems in Dari. Now, let's go to the next part. The next part is a new lesson. And this new lesson is what? Using used to. Used to in English is used in situation where someone does the same action again and again and again in the past. Okay? But he or she doesn't do it now. For that kind of a situation, we use used to. So here are the rules and then the example. Rule number 1. We use used to express a past situation or habit that we no longer do. So you have a habit. A habit means what? Something that you repeatedly do, but you don't do it anymore. For that you say used to. For example, you say what? I used to live with my mother. Now, my mother died many years ago, so I don't live with her anymore. But I used to live with her. Or you say what? Jim used to smoke. Means what? In the past, he smoked every day probably or every week. But now he doesn't do it. For that kind of situation, you use what? Used to. Rule number 2. We use did to make question in 2 different ways. To make question with used to, you use did. Okay? Like did plus the subject plus used to, or did plus the subject plus used to with the D. I prefer the first type, that you use did plus subject plus used to with no D. For example, you say, did Jim used to smoke? See, did Jim used to smoke? You say, no, he didn't used to smoke. Did Jim used to smoke with a D? So either one is correct grammatically. I prefer the one without D when you make it question with D, with did. Rule number 3. We use didn't in negative form as follows. Subject plus didn't plus used to plus whatever comes after the sentence. Or you could use what? With D, used to. So you say, Ahmad didn't used to drink tea. So because of didn't, you don't use the D of used to. Or you could use it. Either one is correct. Tim didn't used to drink coffee. Didn't used to, one takes D, the other one doesn't take D. Rule number 4. We don't pronounce the D in used to. So when you say, I used to live with my mother, you don't say, I used to live with my mother. Actually, if you say it, it basically, you need to pause. So you naturally cannot say the D. You say what? I used to live with my mother. It means I don't live with my mother anymore. So in other words, you write the D, but you don't pronounce it. Okay? So you say, I used to live with my mother. I used to study very hard. I used to ride bicycles. So something that you did again and again in the past. Now, let's practice this and see how we can use them in sentences. So here are some sentences that gives you an opportunity to practice this new structure. Make sentences with the same meaning by using used to. For example, there is an example actually. First I give you an example, then practice. When Tim was a child, he was shy. He is not shy now. You know, shy, somebody who's quiet, doesn't talk, doesn't want to socialize with people, that kind of a person is called shy. So Tim, as a child, was very shy, very quiet. He's not quiet anymore. He talks a lot. So instead of 2 sentences, you can make 1 sentence. And you could say what? Like this. Tim used to be shy. See, this sentence means what? In the past, he was quiet, but he's not quiet anymore. So for this kind of situation, we use used to. And remember, when you say used to, you do not pronounce D. And after used to, you always use the simple form of the verb. Tim used to be shy. Now, let's do it together. I'm going to read these 3 sentences first, and then I want to give you a chance to think, and then we're going to go over the answers. Question number 1. When Farid was young, he was poor. He is not poor now. So, in the past he was poor, but now he is not. How can you make one sentence to express this idea? Number 2. Sima lived in Kabul. She lives in Canada now. So, lady named Sima, in the past she lived in Kabul, now she lives in Canada. How can you make one sentence to express the same idea? Umaid, when Umaid was a child, he watched cartoons on TV. He watches Iman TV now. So when he was a child, he's an engineer, he was watching cartoons. Now his life has changed. He's watching what? Iman TV. Actually making the whole show run, okay? Runs the whole show. So he watches Iman TV so many hours a day. No more cartoons. So how can you say this in one sentence instead of these 2 long sentences? So let's look at sentence number 1. When Farid was young, he was poor. He's not poor now. So you say what? Farid used to be poor. Used to be. Whenever you say something that was true in the past, not true now. Sima lived in Kabul. She lives in Canada now. So what can you say in one sentence? Sima used to live in Kabul. That expresses the idea that what? She's not there anymore. When Umaid was a child, he watched cartoons on TV. He watches Iman TV now. So you say what? Umaid used to watch cartoons on TV, but not anymore. So let me read these corrected sentences and then you'll go to the next page. Tim used to be shy. Means what? He's not shy anymore. Farid used to be poor. Means what? He's not poor anymore. He's rich probably. Sima used to live in Kabul. Means what? She's not in Kabul anymore. Don't look for her there. Umaid used to watch cartoons on TV. Means what? He has grown up now. He doesn't like cartoons. He doesn't watch cartoons. He watches something else. Iman TV. Okay, let's go to the next page. Again, I'm going to read these sentences first, give you a chance to think, and then I'm going to give you the answers. We follow the same thing. So some of them are questions. You make it something that what? That was true in the past, but not now. Did Jabbar work for the Kabul Bank in Afghanistan? You say yes, but you use used to. Fatima Kaifi taught in Kabul University. She died last year. Means what? She's not teaching at Kabul University anymore. When Ahmad was single, he came home late every night. He comes home at 5 p.m. now. When Jawed was a student at Kabul University, he smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Now he doesn't smoke at all. Now let's see if you can come up with one sentence to express these ideas. Did Jabbar work for Kabul Bank in Afghanistan? Yes, Jabbar used to work for the Kabul Bank in Afghanistan. Means what? He's not working for the Kabul Bank anymore. Usually people that they work for the Kabul Bank are what? Very rich now. So he is very rich now. Fatima Kaifi taught in Kabul University. She died last year. This is a true story. I know Fatima Jan Kaifi. She was the finest person, one of the finest persons on earth, a very good Muslim and a very good teacher and a very good friend. And she taught at Kabul University, but she's not there anymore. She's not among us anymore. May Allah bless her. And so what can we say in one sentence? We say what? What? That Fatima Kaifi used to teach in Kabul University. Means what? She's not teaching there anymore. When Ahmad was single, he came home late every night. he comes home at 5 p.m. now. So we say what? Ahmad used to come home late every night. Means not anymore. Now that he's married, he has to report home at 5 p.m. Number 7. When Javed was a student at Kabul University, he smoked 2 packs of cigarette a day. Now he doesn't smoke at all. So you say what? Javed used to smoke 2 packs of cigarette a day. So means used to means he's not doing it anymore. He has stopped. Now let me read these sentences and then we'll move to the next page and probably next activity. Yes, Jabbar used to work for the Kabul Bank. He is very rich now. Fatima Kaifi used to teach in Kabul University. Ahmad used to come home late every night. Javed used to smoke 2 packs of cigarette a day. What I have for you now, I have these sentences that I want you to correct. And the mistakes are in the verb tense. So as you look at the sentence, try to find the verb and try to look at the time, if there is time expression, and then change it. Muhammad used to living in Kabul. Number 2, Rahman used to worked for a medical school. 3, were you used to live in Karachi, Pakistan? Number 4, Umaid didn't was used to get up early on Saturdays, but now he does. He has to run this show. Okay, now let's see if we can fix these sentences. Muhammad used to living in Kabul. Is that the correct way to say it? So let's look at the verb, used to living. So what's the rule for this? We said we use used to. After used to, which form of the verb do we use? We use what? The simple form of the verb. So the simple form of living is what? Live. So the correct answer is Muhammad used to live in Kabul. If you say he used to live in Kabul, living in Kabul is wrong, completely wrong. So there's only one correct answer, and that is what? Muhammad used to live in Kabul. Rahman used to worked for a medical school. So you need to look at the verb form here. The verb is what? Used to worked. Again, the same error, the same mistake. After used to, you use the simple form. What we have is what? The past form, not correct. So the correct answer is Rahman used to work. You cannot use S, you cannot use ing, you cannot use ed. You have to use the simple form. That's the rule. Question number 3. Were you used to live in Karachi, Pakistan? So the verb is what? Used to live, but there's also another part of the verb, were. Can we say, were you used to live in Karachi, Pakistan? We studied the rules. How do you make used to question? Do you make it questions with were? Please say no. We don't make it question with were. We make it question with what? With did. So you need to say what? Did you used to live in Karachi, Pakistan? So that's now the correct answer. It should be a question mark. I put a period. That's my error. Number 4. Umaid didn't was used to live to get up early on Saturdays. But now he does. He even may not like it. Who knows? Okay. So let's look at what the verb form is what? Didn't was used to. So again, after used to, we need to use what? We need to use the simple form. The simple form is there. But we have 2 words, was used and didn't use. That's what makes the sentence wrong. So the correct form is what? Umaid didn't used to get up early on Saturdays, but now he does. So we don't need was there. So you need to cross that out. So the correct answer is Umaid didn't used to get up early on Saturdays, but now he does. Now let me read these sentences with the correct forms. Muhammad used to live in Kabul. Means not anymore. Rahman used to work for a medical school. Means what? Not anymore. But the correct form is what? Used to live, used to work, the simple form of the verb. did you used to live in Karachi, Pakistan? So again, you make it question with did, not with any other auxiliaries. Umaid didn't used to get up early on Saturdays, but now he does. Now let's look at some more sentences here. So we continue with the same exercise, and that is what? Looking at the verb form and fixing it. Tim was used to teach English, but now he teaches math. Now I want you to look at the sentence, and I give you time to look at it, and then give me the correct answer. Sentence number 6. Where Timur used to live when he was a child. Is that correct? Mr. Johnson used to work in an accounting company. Basir was used to catches frogs and snakes. Now, let's see if you can detect the answers, find the mistakes, and then fix the sentence. Tim was used to teach English, but now he teaches math. What's the correct answer? Tim was used to teach? No. You say what? Tim used to teach, not was used to. So you don't use was. That's the wrong one. Now he teaches what? Math. The second sentence, number 6. Where Timur used to live when he was a child. Used to live. That part is correct. What's not correct, that when you make question, as we said it before, you have to use an auxiliary after the WH word. The WH word is what? Where. So you need to have an auxiliary there. So the correct answer is, where did Timur used to live when he was a child? Where did he used to live? To make it question, you need did with the WH form. Number 7. Mr. Johnson used to works in accounting company. Again, used to works. Is that correct? Please say no. It's not correct. Why? Because after used to, we use the simple form of the verb. So, find the verb. Used to works. Works is wrong. So you say used to work. So Mr. Johnson used to work in an accounting company. Basir was used to catches frogs and snakes. So was used to catches. Again, the same error, that after used to, we need to use what? The simple form of the verb. And so we say what? Basir used to catch is the correct answer. Now, let me read these sentences with correct completion, and then we go to the next part. Tim used to teach English, but now he teaches math. Where did Timur used to live when he was a child? Mr. Johnson used to work in an accounting company. Basir used to catch frogs and snakes. So you don't need that was there. Change the following statements to questions. So here there are some sentences you change into question. But look, which one you need to find what? What is the subject? What is the verb? And what is the time expression? So for sentence number 1, we have what? Wahab prays early in the morning every day. So the verb is what? Prays. The subject is what? Wahab. The time is what? Every day. Something that happens again and again and again. Okay. Now, how do you make it question? So you need to look at the verb. Prays. Prays, everybody knows it. Every morning you pray. So, is pray an action verb or to be verb? Remember, we had 5 to be verbs. Is, am, are, was, were. Is this one of those words? Please say no. So it is what? It's an action verb. If it's an action verb, you need to decide, is this present time or past time? Praise is what? Present time. For present time, we use one of the 2 auxiliaries, do or does. To decide whether you use do or does, you need to do what? You need to find out what the subject is. The subject is Wahab. And Wahab is what? One person. Third person singular. For third person singular, we use does. So here it is. Does Wahab pray early in the morning every day? Let's hope so. Does Wahab pray early in the morning every day? That's a question you make. But you need does. Why? Wahab is third person singular. And then I also want you to look, see, when you have the statement, you say Wahab prays. When you make it question, you need to say what? Does Wahab pray? The S disappears because you use does. We are learning English on Iman TV now. Now, you need to find the verb. The verb is what? Are learning. What is the time? Now. What is the subject? We. Now, do we have a to be verb in this sentence? Remember, to be verbs are what? Is, am, are, was, were. Do we have any of these words? The answer is what? Yes, because we say we are. Are is what? The to be verb. So if we have a to be verb, our job is very simple. Move the to be verb at the beginning of the sentence. The sentence becomes a question. So here, we just move are at the beginning. We say what? Are we learning English on Iman TV now? Please say yes, we are learning English on Iman TV now. So with to be verb, it's simple. Bring are, the to be verb at the beginning of the sentence and give it a rising intonation, and then you make change a statement to a question. Question number 3. Umayd traveled to Egypt in 2014. Sorry, it's not Umayd, it's Hamid. Hamid traveled to Egypt in 2014. So find the verb, traveled. Is this past or present? Past. Is this to be verb or action verb? It's what? To be verbs. Sorry, action verb. And Hamid is what? Third person singular. So for all past tense for action verb, we need to use what? Did. And that's the only one that we can use. And so we say what? Did Hamid travel to Egypt in 2014? Remember, when you use did, you don't change, you change traveled to travel. You use the simple form of the verb. Question number 4. Ali was a doctor in India. So now look at the verb, and that is what? Was. The subject is Ali. Is was one of the to be verbs? Remember, to be verb was what? Is, am, are, was, and were. So was is there. It's simple. Bring was at the beginning of the sentence. It becomes a question. Was Ali a doctor in India? Now, let me read these sentences with the correct completion. Wahab prays early in the morning every day. The question, does Wahab pray early in the morning every day? Number 2, we are learning English on Iman TV now. Are we learning English on Iman TV now? Hamid traveled to Egypt in 2014. Did Hamid travel to Egypt in 2014? Ali was a doctor in India. Was Ali a doctor in India? Now, I have a lot more sentences for you, but unfortunately, we don't have a lot more time left. So because of that, I'm going to jump and go to the next part, and then you will come back next time and review this. So we will come back and practice this more. But let's go to the verb forms that we did at the beginning, and then we will stop the lesson. So I'll come back to that exercise in our next week lesson. So now, please, for the last part, let's repeat these verbs with the past and past participle form. Please repeat. Understand, understood, understood. Upset, upset, upset. Wake, woke, woken. Wear, were, worn. Weave, wove, woven. Weep, wept, wept. Win, won, won. Withdraw, withdrew, withdrew, write, wrote, written. So this is the end of all these irregular forms of verbs, the list that I've been providing for you for the last 15 weeks. So I really want you to go back, review, and practice. I think all these videos are on YouTube now, are also on the website of Iman TV. So you can go and practice if you have not done it. So you can go like one list a week or one list a day. It could help you to remember both the meaning and also the correct form of the verb and the correct pronunciation. And then after that, you do not see these lists. So you need to go back to these lessons that we studied before. At this point, I will end the lesson, but my expectation is that you keep reviewing. The good thing is that the technology has made it possible for us that even if you start today, you can start from lesson number 1. Our engineer, Umaid Irshad, is a very, very competent and efficient person, and he has consistently put these new videos on internet, so you can easily go there and get it, and it is free. It doesn't cost you a thing. So keep practicing, and so I'll see you the following week. بیننده های بسیار محترم تلویزیون ایمان، درس امروز ما با همینجا به پایان رسید. تا هفته آینده شما را به خداوند متعال بسپارم. تشکر.